Night shift. This happened to me quite a while ago. It was 1987 and I had worked at a gas station that had been close to my family home, which was in a small rural town in Pennsylvania. I was about 17 and wanted a job that would just get me enough money to go shopping with my friends. Stupid stuff like that. Usually I'd work a day shift, which were obviously the busiest hours, but my manager had needed me to work at 8 to 12 p.m. one night since most of the other employees were either on vacation or sick since summer had just begun. I agreed since I was supposed to go to the mall with my friends that same weekend and I needed the extra money. She had even agreed to pay me extra. I got ready for my shift and headed there. The drive there was pretty long because we lived in the countryside where the roads were long and windy. It had even rained earlier that day, so the roads were obviously wet. When I had made it to the gas station, I settled in and got myself comfortable. It was so weird seeing the gas station at this time. I was so used to seeing it have most of the lights dimmed because the natural light would come through, but it was dark, so the only lights in the room were fluorescent. The only tasks I had to follow were responding to customers, restocking, and just overall protecting the building. So I sat in the chair just staring around waiting until something had happened when the bell that would go off when someone had came into the door rang. I stood up from my chair and greeted them. No response. I didn't think it was that strange since I was a very soft-spoken and shy person, so I just brushed it off and stood and waited for the person to get what they needed. It was an elderly man who had a hunched back and a long beard. He looked like an ordinary man. He began walking up to the counter and very aggressively threw his stuff down on the counter. I was a little taken aback from what he had just done, but continued to ring up his stuff and tell him his total. He handed me the money and walked away. Said absolutely nothing. I just signed and sat back down. Not even 3 minutes later, he comes back. He had gotten gas and was going to pay for it. He walks back out after paying and I suddenly hear the sound of loud shouting. I walk outside to see what just happened and the man was standing next to his truck. I asked from a fat what happened and he told me to come to him because he needed help with his car. I walked over being the stupid teenager I was and asked what it was he needed help with. He just creepily smirked at me and opened the door to his truck. I stepped back a little and asked him again what he needed help with. He told me he dropped something in the back seat of the truck and not for a second did I believe him. He asked me to get it and I told him I didn't feel comfortable. He began to beg me and said he's old and his back is hunched so it's hard for him to do things. I knew he wouldn't stop until I at least attempted to help, so I, at an angle, which saved my life, bent over into the truck and felt around on the floor. The man began to shove me into the car and scream, "Get in!" I yelled and kicked as much as I could, but me being at the angle I was able to sliver out of the truck and even punch the man in the face. I heard him yelling weird things at me as I ran away like, "Get back here, beautiful girl." I ran back into the gas station and called the police with the phone that was hanging in the storage room. I was so weirded out that I had completely quit my job afterwards. He was never caught. I still wonder to this day.